That was a beautiful segue for my rant about why or how conservatives are hella advantaged in this country. If you'll just permit me to kind of press that seal in to make Jack's point here. So in this country, the left, and when I say the left, I just mean you're not conservative. I consider the left, the broad left, to be left of center, liberal, neoliberal, progressive, social democrat, democratic socialist, socialist, whatever. You're not conservative. This is the blanket term. We have three advantages. I'll give us three. There are more of us in general. Our policies are more popular overwhelmingly, and we have a better grassroots game. Those are our three advantages. I would need like all fingers and toes to describe the numerous systemic advantages of the right in this country. It's ridiculous. From a broad philosophical perspective, the right wing in this country, they offer no affirmative agenda. Progressives, the left, whether you agree with their policy prescriptions or not, and there's a good faith disagreement to be had if you don't think that Social Security should be addressed that particular way, or single payer option for healthcare versus, whatever. There are plenty of good faith disagreements to be had, but we want to move the needle. We want to progress. We want to move. Conservatives, just from a base philosophical perspective, don't want that. They either want to keep shit exactly the way it is or to tear it down. And think about it. Is it easier to build a building or to demolish it or to keep it the way it is? So from the very beginning, from the starting pistol firing, we have a harder job on the left. Then you look at the framework of this country on a broad federal level. Separation of powers, system of federalism, all that is great in theory when you have an opposition that's loyal to you, that have legitimate disagreements but believe in the same values and, do these things in good faith, like an Aaron Sorkin West Wing world. But that's not the world in which we live. So in this case, separation of powers and federalism are things that constantly hamper progress, right? So you look at slavery. It took us 80 years after the conception of this country to abolish slavery. And then it took another 80 years to deal with Jim Crow, redlining, segregation, things like that. And that's for slavery. Ending slavery was like the most unambiguously morally righteous cause in this nation's history, and it took 160 years to effectively deal with, and a civil war. It's how slow it takes. You took it at a broad systemic level like that. You look at the states. So Jack's talking about states here. Okay, we have of the 50 states in the country, 30 of them are controlled by Republican legislatures. So a minority of states, even though it's the majority of the population, are controlled by the left or Democrats. You have the Electoral College. Political analyst David Shore, he looks at this every year. Democrats have to constantly overperform and overperform with each subsequent election and presidential elections to just stay competitive with the Electoral College. That's how outsized the red rural vote is in this country. So that's another thing. You look at the media apparatus. The biggest news network in this country is Fox News. You look at unconventional media. Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder, all these people, they blow Vosh and Destiny and David Pakman and Brian Tyler Cohen out of the water in terms of outreach. So then you look at the Senate. My God, we had a 50-50 split Senate, even though the 50 that were on our side represented 40 million more people than the 50 on their side. So it's insane. We have a 6-person regressive supermajority on the Supreme Court. Yes, dark money. There you go. And especially with the Supreme Court, that's a huge thing. So, and I'm just glossing over it just for the sake of brevity, but we are so outclassed systemically in large part because, going back to Jack's point, even Cam's point, in terms of how conservatives dealt with losing the Civil War, they were cunning. They took the long game. We know in the post-Civil War era that, again, conservatives were very quick to add extra states because they knew it was going to increase their representation in the Senate and the House of Representatives and the Electoral College. Meanwhile, you talk about a country that was founded on the notion of taxation without representation. Puerto Rico's not a state.
Yep.
DC's not a state.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, it's so insane. And then, I'm sorry, I just got to get this. Then the asymmetry of expectations. This is another thing that drives me nuts. Conservatives are graded on a curve. Every time President Biden or a Democrat is interviewed by anybody, including by nominally leftist networks, it's always like, Mr. President, what are you going to do to reach across the aisle to work with the other side. Donald Trump never got that question from Fox News when he was president. Mr. President, what are you going to do to basically shut up and start working with Democrats in good faith? He was never asked that. Kevin McCarthy has never been asked that question. The expectation is Republicans and conservatives can do whatever they want. They can abdicate their responsibility to co-govern because constitutionally, even though they're in the minority, they have an obligation to pass legislation and to help the majority govern. But they get to kick back and always point to the other guy. And even when the other guy, like, it's just insane. And then Democrats are blamed for not cleaning up their mess. That's all that we have to constantly fight. Mm-hmm. And in return, we only have 3 advantages. So that's why this race is so damn important. It's not just about holding the line. This is a rare opportunity to actually move the line back in our favor.
Yep.
Sorry, it pisses me off, something fierce.
Hey, you. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, and I hope that you did, please hit the like and subscribe buttons below. And if you absolutely hated the video, the best revenge for you is also to hit the like and subscribe buttons below. That'll teach me. If you want to share an opinion or share some feedback, go ahead and leave a comment, all right? 2023 is a year of change, hence the aggressive rebrand and commitment to new content. Inspired by my friends Luke Beasley and STV Philly, my personal goal for this channel is to hit 40,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So I'm hoping you'll do me a solid by spreading the word and the videos to potential fans and hate watchers alike. And in the meantime, we'll be pondering politics again with you very soon.